почему?
Надо спросить.
Let's dive into the world of Nikolai, an 11th grader whose day takes an unexpected turn. He finds himself in hot water with Victor, a classmate who's not too happy about a cheeky comment about their crush, Nastia, scrawled on the board. Victor drags Nikolai to the classroom, but our hero has bigger news to share. Nikolai drops a bombshell. An alien spaceship is zooming towards Earth. But here's the kicker. The alien pilot goofed up and landed in the wrong spot, all because they picked up signals from Nikolai's gaming buddy Fema. Talk about a cosmic mix-up. This accidental encounter means Earth's about to join the Star Federation. Imagine that. We're talking light-speed progress in science and medicine. But hold on, it's not all smooth sailing. Fast forward to 2110, and we're looking at space battles with the Cosmic Pirate Alliance, led by the time-traveling troublemaker, Glot. Humans are in for a rough ride until Kira and her special squad step up to the plate. In a twist of fate, Kira faces off against Glot, sacrificing herself to take him down. She leaves behind a daughter, Alice, who ends up at Nikolai's school just a century later. Now, Alice isn't exactly thrilled about hitting the books. While some of her alien classmates try to befriend her, Alice's mind wanders to more exciting prospects. Picture this. She strolls home, gives a quick hello to the family robot Veether, and shows off her cool new bracelets. These aren't just any accessories. They can create combat simulations. Looks like Alice might be gearing up for some action of her own. There jumps into action, helping Alice breeze through a level where she's taking on 3 space pirates at once. But just as things are heating up, her dad, Professor Sesef, pops into the simulation and catches a punch right on the nose. Alice hits the brakes on the fight and rushes to help her dad. That's when the professor spots Alice's new bracelet. Turns out it's from the military academy named after her mom. Alice had applied there without telling him, and he's not exactly thrilled. But Alice has her reasons. She reminds her dad that they never found her mom's body after that big battle. Could she be lost somewhere in the past? To prove her point, Alice leads her dad to a tree smack in the middle of his biolab. There, clear as day, is a heart carved into the bark, and it's been there for a century. Could this be a message from her mom? The plot thickens when their robot announces it's found a woman from the past who looks just like Alice's mom, a physics teacher in Moscow named Margarita. Meanwhile, back in the past, Margarita, who happens to be Nikolai's teacher, is racing to break up the fight between the boys. She puts a stop to it, giving Nikolai a stern talking to and ordering him to erase that mean comment he scribbled on the board. Nikolai and his pal Fema head to the classroom, but that permanent marker just won't budge. Nikolai, ever the problem solver, decides to cook up a solution in the lab. He busts open the doors and climbs up to grab some vials. But oops, he fumbles a water-filled lens and it falls in slow motion. Puzzled by this weird effect, Nikolai investigates. He stumbles upon a hidden safe and finds a box with something truly out of this world. It looks like a tiny galaxy. Suddenly, this cosmic object gets sucked right into Nikolai's palm. He starts shaking uncontrollably. What on earth, or beyond, is going on here? As Nikolai stands there shaking, a mysterious voice whispers about a Kosian reappearing in the system. Freaked out, he bolts into the hallway and out of the school. But wait, the schoolyard looks completely different. Aliens are wandering around like it's no big deal. Suddenly, he crashes into Alice. She reacts on instinct, flipping him onto the ground. Nikolai's so shocked he can barely speak. He mumbles about feeling sick, which makes Alice chuckle. She jokes about his biodata chip malfunctioning, but Nikolai's totally lost. When he asks for an ambulance, Alice realizes something's off. Plus, what's with his weird clothes? Nikolai shows her his school pass, and Alice tells him to take a good look around. That's when it hits him. He's in the future. It's too much for Nikolai, and he passes out cold. Meanwhile, in a space prison far away, a pirate named Jolly, guess why they call him that, is breaking out. He heads to Glot's cell, admitting he's been named captain of the Alliance. But Glot's quick to point out they're powerless without the Kosian, only he can sense its waves and track it down. Jolly's convinced, and they team up. Glot uses his mind powers to make the guards self-destruct, and the pirates make their getaway. Back on Earth, Nikolai wakes up and nearly jumps out of his skin when he sees the robot Veether. Alice confirms his wild guess. It's 2124. She shows him a view that'll blow his mind. A futuristic city with blooming cherry blossoms and gleaming white bridges. Get this, humans even control the temperature now. In this new world, machines are used as needed, and the meat they eat is all artificial. Pretty wild, right? Professor Kesf shows up at the lab and starts checking out Nikolai. What he finds is mind-blowing. Nikolai's body contains something called a Kosian, a cluster of exotic matter with variable gravity. Nikolai spills the beans about how he found this strange object. When Nikolai mentions his physics teacher Margarita, Alice's eyes go wide. She realizes this must be her long-lost mom. Professor Sesef, seeing Alice's reaction, pulls out a letter. In it, Alice's mom explains how the Kosian zapped her to 2014. Here's the catch. You can only jump exactly 100 years with this thing. Kira, that's her mom, had to change her identity and lay low to dodge the space pirates. She tells Alice to look after her dad and that she'll always be proud of her. This is too much for Alice, who runs out of the room in tears. Nikolai chases after Alice, finding her under a tree, pouring her heart out to a virtual version of her dad. V there, ever helpful, guides Nikolai there, but warns him about the dangers of meeting yourself in another time. Something about continuum failure. Yikes. Just then, space pirates crash the party. Glot uses his mind powers to grab Nikolai, but quick-thinking Veether sets off an alarm. Glot realizes they can't take the Kozian while Nikolai's alive, and the pirate Jolly gets ready to do something nasty. But wait, Alice jumps into action with her bionic arms. Professor CSF shows up, trying to stop the fight. In all the chaos, Nikolai, under Glot's mind control, accidentally shoots the professor. Suddenly, there's a massive energy burst, and reality starts to warp. When everything settles, Alice, Nikolai, and the pirates find themselves smack in the middle of a busy highway. Talk about a wild ride. Suddenly, it's 2024. Alice and Nikolai are on the run, with Jolly hot on their heels, leaping from car to car like some kind of space parkour champion. Veether's doing his best to help the kids, but things get dicey when Jolly catches up and tries to skewer Alice with his sword. Plot twist, it's just a hologram. Jolly's not done though, and poor Veether gets sliced in half. Jolly's fuming, complaining to Glot about this wild goose chase, but Glot's got his own tricks up his sleeve. He mind controls a random motorcyclist and uses them to knock Jolly off his feet. Ouch! But Jolly's nothing if not persistent. He spots Nikolai's school ID on the ground and decides to go solo on this mission. Meanwhile, our dynamic duo makes a break for it via subway. Nikolai brings Alice to his place, spinning a tale to his mom about Alice being locked out of her house. Mom buys it, and Alice gets to crash for the night. During their late-night chat, Nikolai confesses he writes and performs rap songs all about Alice, color her impressed. Back with Jolly, he's having a tough time getting to the school. Taxi drivers think he's lost his marbles, so he swipes a smartphone with directions and decides to hoof it. Meanwhile, physics teacher Kira, aka future Alice's mom, catches a news report about the highway chaos and recognizes Jolly. Uh-oh! Morning comes, and Nikolai escorts Alice to school. Nastia spots them and jumps to conclusions, thinking Alice is Nikolai's new girlfriend. She starts pestering them, blocking their way. Talk about awkward. Nikolai then spots his physics teacher, Kira. He rushes to tell her everything, but she's distracted by the sight of Fima, who should be at Nikolai's place gaming. Before they can sort out this confusion, guess who shows up? Jolly. He tries to play it cool with Kira, suggesting they work things out peacefully. But Kira's not having any of it. She's ready to throw down. Wow, things are really heating up. Kira and Jolly are duking it out, turning the place upside down. The chase leads them to the physics classroom, where Alice, Nikolai, Fima, Nastia, and her new beau Victor are hiding out. They're barricading the door, but Jolly's not giving up that easily. Alice realizes they need to make a jump to the future, but there's a catch. Nikolai needs to feel some strong emotions to activate the Kozian. Just as Jolly's about to break through, Alice plants a big kiss on Nikolai. Talk about perfect timing. As temporal vortexes start swirling, Kira seizes the moment of confusion and slices off Jolly's arm. Ouch! In a blink, the whole gang is zapped to the future. But hold up, this isn't the shiny, happy future they left behind. The school's in ruins and battle robots are zooming around outside. Kira, ever the fighter, takes a swing at one with her sword. The robot's mask falls off, revealing Vather, plot twist. Veether fills them in on what went wrong. Remember when Fima was supposed to pick up that alien signal? Well, in this new timeline, Glot messed things up by sending Fima to school instead of his gaming tournament. Glot snagged the signal himself, and boom, Earth became a pirate stronghold, with humans slaving away for measly bowls of soup. Talk about a butterfly effect! Vather leads them to Jolly, who looks like he's barely aged a day in 100 years. Turns out he's the one who saved Vather, disguising him as a pirate bot. Kira's skeptical, but Jolly swears he switched sides. He's been plotting revenge against Glot all these years for double-crossing him. This ragtag team of time travelers, a repentant pirate, and a robot in disguise might be Earth's last hope, but can they trust Jolly? And how are they going to fix this mess of a timeline? What a roller coaster! Jolly reveals he can't harm Glot directly because of an oath, but destroying Glot could reset everything. They need to stop Glot from intercepting that crucial alien signal at Nikolai's apartment 100 years ago. Kira, Nikolai, and Jolly head off to do just that, while Fima has a lightbulb moment. Why didn't Glot track their time jump? Turns out it's a trap. The gang falls into a pirate ambush, but their friends rush to the rescue. Victor, of all people, saves the day with a bomb he found on Jolly. But talk about collateral damage. A whole building comes crashing down. Panicked, Nikolai tries to save everyone by zapping them back to their own time, but he ends up back in the future, smack in the middle of a fierce battle with the surviving pirates. Jolly, in a surprising move, locks Kira in a room to protect her and takes a fatal hit himself. Glot shows up, gloating that he's now free from his oath once Jolly kicks the bucket. Meanwhile, in the past, Nikolai's friends are racing to his apartment to confront past Glot. Future Nikolai, Kira, and Alice also arrive at the apartment, causing some serious timeline wonkiness. As Nikolai tries to jump to the future again, realities start merging and splitting like crazy. Things get wild. In the past, friends are fighting each other under Glot's mind control. In the future, Alice starts strangling Nikolai, fighting Glot's influence but unable to stop. Nikolai dies, and future Glot gets his hands on the Kozion. Alice, snapping out of it, desperately tries to revive Nikolai. Just when all hope seems lost, Nikolai opens his eyes as Alice cries over him. Talk about a dramatic revival. Glot's busy absorbing the Kozion, thinking he's won, but Alice drops a bombshell. Her mother is still alive and ready for round 2 against Glot. The stakes couldn't be higher, and it looks like this time-bending, reality-warping adventure is far from over. What a twist-filled finale. Glot thinks he's got the upper hand, boasting about killing Kira and Nikolai's friends 100 years ago, but Nikolai's not buying it. He's sure his friends in the past can still beat Glot. This ticks Glot off, so he zaps them back to 2024 to prove his point. But here's where Nikolai's clever plan comes into play. When future Glot meets past Glot, it causes a massive continuum failure. Glot starts multiplying like crazy, then poof! He's gone. Talk about outsmarting yourself. With Glot out of the picture, the Kozion goes haywire. Nikolai reaches for it, but the resulting time anomaly scatters everyone. Alice and Kira end up in 2124, while Nikolai gets stuck in some kind of intertemporal limbo before landing back in his 2024. Nikolai wakes up in a hospital, greeted by an ecstatic FEMA. Good news, FEMA managed to receive the alien courier's signal, setting history back on its original track. But there's a catch. Nikolai's lost the Kozion, meaning no more time travel. The realization that he might never see Alice again hits him hard. Meanwhile, in 2124, Alice and Kira have a heartwarming reunion with CSF, who's alive and well. Turns out Nikolai's warning letter, delivered a century later, saved the day. CSF used a hologram to trick the pirates. Talk about playing the long game. Back in 2024, Nikolai and his friends plant a tree, symbolizing their care for the future. In a touching gesture, Nikolai carves a heart on the tree. Fast forward to 2124, and Alice sees this message, realizing Nikolai still remembers her. As the movie wraps up, we're left with a bittersweet ending. The timelines are fixed, Earth is safe, but Nikolai and Alice are separated by a century. Yet, that simple heart carved on a tree bridges the gap, connecting them across time. It's a poignant reminder that some bonds transcend even the barriers of time itself.